Have you ever wanted to start something new but fear stopped you? Maybe you were afraid to fail, afraid that if you tried, you'd lose everything. If you've ever felt that way, this story is for you. It's about David, a man who discovered that the hardest prison to escape is the one built by our own fear. David was 26 years old, the breadwinner of his family. For 7 long years, he worked in the same company. Every morning, he woke before sunrise, squeezed into the same crowded bus, and sat behind the same gray desk, staring at the same blinking screen. His life was a routine that never changed. Wake up, work, go home, sleep. He had no energy left for dreams, only survival. He smiled less, spoke less, and laughed almost never. He wanted to do something that made him feel alive, maybe start a small business or learn a new skill. But fear held him by the throat. What if I fail, he thought. What if my family goes hungry because of me? So, he stayed, safe, trapped, slowly disappearing behind the walls of his own fear. One night after a long day at work, David came home late. The house was quiet, his parents already asleep, his siblings resting after dinner. He sat in the dark, staring at his hands, the hands that worked so hard, yet built nothing he loved. Tears began to fall. He whispered, "Why do I feel so empty when I have everything I once prayed for?" But deep down, he knew the answer. He had stopped living for himself. He was surviving, not living. The next day, while walking home under a gray sky, David saw a young boy standing near the street corner. The boy was soaked from the rain but still smiling, holding a small bundle of flowers in his hands. When David passed by, the boy called out gently, "Sir, would you like to buy some flowers?" "They smell nice," David stopped. The boy couldn't have been older than 12. He wore old shoes and a shirt that was too thin for the cold wind. Rain dripped from his messy hair, but his eyes, they were bright, full of quiet strength. "Why are you selling flowers here?" David asked. "Shouldn't you be at home or in school?" The boy looked down at his flowers, then back at David. "My father died when I was little," he said softly. "My mother washes clothes for people, but sometimes we don't have enough for food. I sell flowers after school to help her, and to buy my sister's notebooks." David felt something heavy in his chest. The boy's hands were small and trembling from the cold, yet he still held the flowers carefully, like they were treasures. "Isn't it hard?" David asked quietly. "Aren't you tired? Don't you ever feel angry at life?" The boy smiled, not sadly, but bravely. "Sometimes," he said, "but I can't change where I was born. I can only change how I live. When I sell flowers, I think of my mother smiling when I bring home rice. I think of my sister eating well because of me. That makes the cold easier to bear." David couldn't reply. The boy continued, "Maybe I don't have much, but I believe every pain teaches something. If I stop trying, my life will never change." Then he handed David a single white flower and said, "Here, sir. This one is free." For good luck, David stood there, frozen. He watched the boy walk away through the rain, his small figure fading into the crowd. He looked down at the flower in his hand, fragile, simple, but alive. That boy had nothing, yet he was richer in courage than David had ever been. He realized something painful and true. He had everything that other people dreamed of, a job, a home, a family, yet he was still afraid to try something new. He wasn't living in poverty, but in fear, and that was its own kind of hunger. That night, David placed the flower on his desk. He stared at it for a long time and whispered, "If a child can fight for his dreams, why can't I?" The next morning, David woke up before dawn. For the first time in years, he didn't go to the office. He went to the market instead, not to buy flowers, but ingredients. He had always loved baking. When he was young, he used to help his mother make bread on weekends. The smell of fresh dough had always reminded him of home. He decided to start small, a few loaves, some cookies, sold from a small stall outside their house. At first, it wasn't easy. Some days, he sold nothing. People laughed and said, "You left your stable job for this?" But David didn't stop. He studied recipes online, practiced at night, and tried new flavors. He wasn't baking for money, he was baking with love. He wanted people to feel warmth, comfort, and happiness in every bite. Months passed. Slowly, people began to notice his bread. A teacher from the nearby school ordered every morning. A mother said his cakes reminded her of her childhood. Children waited outside just to smell the sweet scent of freshly baked bread. One day, a regular customer told him, "Your bread makes my mornings brighter." And David smiled, a real smile from the heart. His bakery grew, not because he chased success, but because he poured his heart into it. What began as a small dream became something beautiful, a place where love, courage, and effort mixed like flour and sugar. David's life wasn't perfect, but it was finally his. He learned that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it, and fear, it never truly disappears. But when you move despite fear, that's when courage begins. Everyone has their own kind of flour to sell, their own reason to keep going. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for fear to vanish. Start small, start scared, just start. Because the first step toward your dream is the one that breaks the chain of fear. If David's story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Tell us in the comments, what fear will you overcome today? At Whisker Tales, we help you learn English naturally through short, inspiring stories made for beginners and intermediate learners. Each tale helps you listen, learn, and speak English with confidence while discovering motivation, wisdom, and life lessons along the way. New stories every day. Subscribe now, and let stories light your path.